The Forgotten Child of God. Vol.1. Prologue. The day a god died. Only 7 people in all the world ever saw a god die. And yet, not one of those 7 could remember what they had witnessed. A red sky, black rain, a broken moon, and a single point of light falling toward the earth. It was not a star. It was not a man, nor a beast, nor a spirit, nor a demon. That light was weeping. At the northern edge of the world, in the holy city of Gran Elios, every bell rang out that night of its own accord. The great bell of the cathedral, the prayer bells of the monastery, the morning bell that stood over the graveyard, the silver bell that tolled the hours for the royal capital. No one stood in the bell towers. No hand pulled a single rope. And still, 108 bells rang as one. The sound was not a blessing. It was not a warning. It was something deeper, something heavier, as though the world itself were grieving for the death of someone. The people of the holy city woke from their sleep, opened their windows, and looked up at the sky. The sky was red. Though it should have been the dead of night, it burned a deep and blazing crimson, and at its center, the moon was split in 2. To be precise, the moon itself had not broken. A vast black fissure had opened across it, as if to swallow it whole. And from that crack, black rain was falling. The rain was not cold. Those it touched did not, at first, believe it was rain at all. It was not water, but fine black grains, like thin ink dissolved in the air. It struck the rooftops, soaked the cobblestones, and ran down the white walls of the temple. And all who were touched by that rain forgot something. A mother forgot the name of the infant in her arms. A soldier forgot why he stood at the castle gate. An old man forgot the face of his departed wife. A priest forgot the first verse of the prayer he had spoken every morning of his life. They did not even realize, at first, that they had forgotten. Only a strange sensation remained, deep in their chests, as if a small hole had opened, somewhere they could not reach. In the innermost sanctuary of the great cathedral, before an altar of silver and white, the aged Archbishop Elios knelt. Before him burned the sacred flame, the fire that, for 1,000 years, had never once gone out. The flame said to have been granted to the first priest by the god himself. The flame upon which kings swore their oaths at their coronations. The flame raised at the end of every war to comfort the souls of the dead. That sacred flame had gone out. Not even smoke remained, as though no fire had ever burned there at all. "Why?" Elios whispered. His voice was trembling. Old as he was, he had never once missed a prayer. He had called the god's name, listened for the god's voice, and endured the god's silence. The God is eternal. The God is perfect. The God watches over the world. So he had taught, so he had believed, so he had lived. But now the sacred flame upon the altar was dark, and the face of the God, painted upon the temple ceiling, had become impossible to see, as though someone had blotted it out in black. "Your Grace," a young priest cried out behind him. "The Book of Prayers." Elios turned. In the priest's hands was an old prayer book bound in leather. Upon its pages, the name of the god was meant to be written, the most sacred name in all the world. A name that even a king could not speak until he had removed his crown. But the page was blank. It was not that the letters had faded. It looked as if nothing had ever been written on the paper at all. Another priest ran to the wall. Here too. The letters on the tablet of the name have vanished. The hymnal as well. And the baptismal records, the name of the god is gone. The voices of the priests overlapped, one after another. And in those voices was fear. Not the fear of doubting their God. It was the fear that they alone had been left behind, in a world the God had abandoned. Elias set his hand upon the altar and rose slowly to his feet. Be still. At that single word, the priests fell silent. But the silence brought no comfort. In the silence, only the sound of the black rain could be heard. Drip, drip, drip. Black rain, beating against the white roof of the temple. Elias looked at the oracle stone set at the center of the altar. The oracle stone was the stone upon which the words of the god were carved. By nature, no human will could read it. Only when it was needed, and only for the one who needed it, would the letters rise to the surface. Upon that stone, now a single line was carved. Forget my name. Elias held his breath. It looked like a command from the god. And yet, at the same time, it looked like the god's own scream. Your Grace, what does this mean? The young priest asked. Elias could not answer. For a god to command that its own name be forgotten was against everything the faith taught. A name is existence itself. Because the god has a name, the god is a god. Prayers reach the god because his name is called. Blessings descend because the world and the god are bound together through his name. To forget that name meant, in other words, the god. Elias's lips trembled. The god is being erased from the world. It was then. From behind the altar came the faint sound of weeping. At first he thought it was the rain. But no. It was, without a doubt, the cry of an infant. The priests looked at one another. An infant? In the sanctuary? Impossible. The innermost chamber of the great cathedral was holy ground. Even a chosen priest could not set foot there without first undergoing the rites of purification. An infant of all things could not possibly be there. Elias took up his staff and went around behind the altar. The silver-white veil swayed. Beyond it was a small light, a cloth soaked in black rain, and wrapped within it a single newborn child. Black hair, pale skin, and a right eye that shone gold. The left eye was closed, but the right eye glowed quietly, like the last star left at the bottom of the night. The infant was crying, not from hunger, not from cold. It wept from somewhere far deeper, like one who had lost something. The moment Elias looked upon that child, his chest tightened. He did not know this child. He had never seen it before, and yet it felt achingly familiar. As if he had known for decades that this child would come. Against the infant's chest lay a small black stone. The stone was wet not from the black rain. It looked as though it were weeping black tears from within. Elias took the stone in his hand. Ancient letters were carved upon it. Kill this child. One of the priests screamed. Your Grace. Another stepped back. Is that an oracle? Is the god commanding that the child be killed? Elias gripped the stone tightly. It was cold, a cold that froze him to the marrow. Were these words the god's? Or were they the command of some being that sought to erase the god? He did not know. But one thing, at least, was certain. This infant was a danger to the world. And at the very same time, it was the last hope the world had left. Elias lifted the child into his arms. The priest stirred in alarm. "You must not, Your Grace. Do you mean to defy the oracle? If that child is a curse, then here and now." Silence. Elias's voice was low. It was an old voice, but no one there could defy it. In Elias's arms, the infant stopped crying, and with its golden right eye, it gazed up at him. In that moment, a voice echoed inside the archbishop's head. "Do not forget." The voice was small, but it was clearer than any bell in all the world. Tears spilled from Elias's eyes. He did not understand why he was weeping. Was it sorrow? Was it joy? Was it terror? It was all of them at once. He held the child to his chest and turned his back on the priests. The existence of this child must never be set down in any record. Your Grace, do not baptize it. Do not bless it. Do not give it a name. But if we give it no name, this child will be found by the world. Elias looked back over his shoulder. Anything that bears a name is inscribed upon the world. And what is inscribed upon the world will be found by the one who seeks to erase it. The priests could say nothing. Elias looked down at the infant. You must never be known to anyone. It was a cruel sentence to pass. No name, no blessing, no place in any record. A life declared, from the moment of its birth, never to have existed. But there was no other way to protect it. The black rain began to beat against the temple more fiercely still. In the distance, the cries of the people could be heard. All across the holy city, memories were peeling away and falling. The name of the God, the words of prayer, the faces of loved ones, the names parents had given their children, the promises exchanged only yesterday, all of it washed away by the black rain. Elias summoned only the three he trusted most. We will smuggle this child beyond the holy city. To where? To a place where no name and no record can reach. And you, Your Grace? Elias looked at the oracle stone. Forget my name. The letters were fading, little by little. I will remain here. You must not. Someone must witness the events of this night to their very end. But if you are touched by the black rain, your memory will. Then I will carve it before I forget. Elias drew a short blade, and with a trembling hand, he began to cut letters into his own left arm. The priests caught their breath. Blood fell to the white floor. Enduring the pain, Elias carved a single line into his flesh. The God is gone. The child remains. Seeing it, the young priest broke down and wept. Elias wrapped the child again in its cloth and entrusted it to the three. Go. Your Grace, at least give this child a name. Even a temporary one. Elias closed his eyes. Give it no name, those had been his own words. But a life with no name is far too lonely. For only an instant, he wavered. And in that instant, the infant reached out a small hand. Its fingers touched Elias's blood. The little blood-wet fingers drew a single line upon his vestments, a shape that resembled, in an old and forgotten tongue, the word for that which remains. Elias murmured in a cracked voice. Noah. One of the three widened his eyes. Your Grace, just now. Forget it. Elias said at once. That name, tell it to no one. Write it nowhere. Call it never. But he himself carved that name into the depths of his heart. Noah. Even if the world forgets, I alone will remember. So he swore. The three took up the child and vanished into a secret passage beneath the earth. Elios returned, alone, to the altar. The letters on the oracle stone had almost entirely faded. The pedestal of the sacred flame was cold. The mural of the god was blotted out in black. The three never came back. One of them fled into the forest with the child, but the black rain made him forget his own task. Another held off their pursuers beyond the holy city, and there his strength gave out. And the last, though he was defeated by the man in the silver mask and turned into the shape of a crow, never once left the child's side. But there is no one who remembers this. Before dawn, the black rain stopped. The people of the holy city looked up at the sky. No one understood why they were weeping. That the bells of the great cathedral had rung. That the sacred flame had gone out. That the name of the god had peeled away from the world. No one remembered any of it. Only in the innermost sanctuary of the great cathedral, an aged archbishop lay fallen upon the cold floor. On his left arm were letters carved in blood. The god is gone. The child remains. But as the morning sun spilled in, even those letters began to fade. The world forgets its God. It forgets the first words of the prayer, forgets the meaning of the hymns, forgets the face that was painted on the mural. In time, the people would no longer even be able to recall that a God had ever existed. But it was not erased completely, because one infant, given no name, survived alone. The child the god had commanded be killed. The child hidden away from the world. The child who held the last memory of a forgotten god. That child had fallen to the earth, weeping on a night of black rain. And 16 years later, in a corner of the royal capital of Libel, he would wake as a boy who kept a lost and found shop. Chapter 1. The Lost and Found Boy. 16 years later. In the east quarter of the royal capital of Libel, there was a strange little shop. 2 streets off the main avenue, down a narrow lane of cobblestones. When it rained, water pooled there. Even in fine weather, the shadows of hanging laundry left it dim. A stall selling spices, a shop of old wares, a booth for mending shoes, and in that asked no one their name, and a tavern where drunkards slept from midday. Such things gathered there, thrown together without any order at all. It was nothing like the White Palace at the center of the capital, or the West Quarter where the carriages of nobles came and went. In the East Quarter, people lost things often. Purses, keys, rings, promises, family, names. Few went to the magistrate to search for what they had lost. Fewer still asked the soldiers. For most of the people of the East Quarter hated to have their names remembered by soldiers. And so they went instead to a small shop at the end of the lane. On its sign, in white letters upon a blackened board, was written, "The Lost and Found." The keeper's name was Noah. He was 16 years old. Black hair and sleepy gray eyes. Thin and not very tall. He always wore an old black coat, worn only a little at the cuffs. Far too young to keep a shop in the back streets of the capital. But the people of the East Quarter knew. That boy finds what has been lost. Gold coins whose hiding place had been forgotten. A hair ornament that could never be returned to a lover after a bitter parting. A silver watch dropped in a drunken haze. A family treasure stolen by someone. A cat that had run away. And sometimes, even a promise its owner had wanted to forget. Noah finds them. But the price is not gold. The price is memory. That day, the first customer was the butcher. The man came into the shop with his great belly swaying, and the moment the bell on the door rang, he spoke without the slightest reserve. Noah, find my knife. Noah was leaning on his hand behind the counter. The shop was small. One whole wall was lined with shelves, and on the shelves stood rows of little glass bottles. Inside the bottles, things swayed gold, blue, gray, and sometimes a smoke that was nearly black. Most customers did not know what they were, and knowing would not have made them feel any better. A knife, Noah asked back sleepily. That's right. My most important cleaver. A custom piece, handed down from the last master. Without it, I can't do business. Was it stolen? Don't know. It was there until yesterday. This morning it was gone. What about your wife? The butcher scowled. Don't bring her up. You had a fight. I told you not to bring it up. Noah let out a small breath. The price? I'll pay you in gold. I don't want gold. I know. Memory, right? The butcher pulled a sour face and scratched his head. Then how about the memory of last night's supper? Noah narrowed his eyes just slightly. Are you sure? Sure. I only fought with the wife anyway. Easier to forget it. Once it's gone, I can't give it back, even if you regret it later. I won't. Yesterday's nothing. I'll throw it away myself. All right. Noah set a small, clear bottle on the counter. A ring of silver was fitted around its mouth. He looked at the butcher's face. No, he looked into it. A person's memories have a scent. Happy memories smell like fresh-baked bread. Sad memories smell of earth wet with rain. Memories of anger smell of scorched oil. Memories that are lies smell of rusted iron. Noah could follow those scents. What drifted from the butcher was the smell of stewed meat, slightly burned onions, cheap red wine, hard bread, and then the awkward silence that comes after saying too much. Noah closed his eyes. The lingering scent of memory stretched out, thin as a thread. The butcher's shop. The back door. A washtub. A wet floor. Shouting. You're always like this. Shut up, I'm working. And because you're working, you can say whatever you please? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? After that, the man went out the back with the cleaver still in his hand. He plunged his face into the washtub to cool his head, and in doing so, the knife slipped from his grip and sank to the bottom of the tub. Noah opened his eyes. Your knife is in the washtub behind the shop. The butcher furrowed his brow. The washtub. Yesterday you fought with your wife, went out back with the knife still in your hand, and dropped it trying to wash your face. How could you know all that? It's my job. Noah touched his finger to the silver ring on the bottle. From the butcher's temple, a single thin thread of golden smoke slipped free. It drifted, swaying, through the air and was drawn into the bottle. Inside the bottle, the memory of supper swayed faintly. Steam, the quarrel, the silence, and at the very end, the scene of his wife holding out a small dish. You haven't eaten a thing since noon, have you? Noah stoppered the bottle. The butcher tilted his head. Huh? What did I eat last night? I don't know. I feel like I fought with the wife. What was it about again? I don't know. Well, as long as I've got my knife, that's enough. The man laughed heartily and headed for the door. Just before stepping out, he turned back. Say, Noah. What? Feels like I forgot to say something important last night. If you can't remember it, maybe it wasn't important. At that, the man thought for a moment, then shrugged and left. The bell on the door rang. Only when that sound had faded completely did a black shadow stir on top of the shelf. You took another important memory. The voice belonged to a crow. Not an ordinary crow. Over one eye it wore a silver patch. It carried itself with far too much pride, and it spoke the language of men. Its name was Gigi. By its own account, it had once been a great sorcerer. Though Noah did not believe half of that story. He offered it himself. Noah set the bottle on the shelf. Inside last night's supper was the beginning of their reconciliation. You saw it. I don't need to. 8 out of 10 marital quarrels end over a meal. And the other 2? Get worse over one word too many. Then maybe it was better forgotten. Gigi puffed up its feathers in exasperation. Your power is convenient. But it isn't kind. I know. That's not the face of someone who knows. Noah did not answer. The power to handle memories. Since when he had possessed it, Noah did not know. By the time he was old enough to remember anything, he could already sense the scent of people's memories. The feelings left in objects, the past soaked into places. He could feel them all a little more deeply than an ordinary person. At first, it frightened people. He would glance at a copper coin picked up in a back alley and name the one who had dropped it. He would touch the collar of a lost dog and know which house it had fled. He once gripped the glove of a weeping woman and blurted out that her lover had been meeting another woman at the harbor. He had been beaten for it. He had been called a monster. But even so, a stomach still grows empty. And so Noah made a trade of his power. The lost and found. A shop that finds what is lost and takes memory in return. The reason he never took gold was simple. Memory was far more honest than gold. Gold coins could be stolen. Silver coins could be forged. But a memory could come only from within the person themselves. Though whether the one who handed over a memory truly gained by it, that even Noah did not know. Your next customer, Gigi said, gesturing with its beak toward the window. A small girl stood before the shop, 7 or 8 years old. She wore a red hood and clutched an old wooden box in both arms. As if unsure whether she should go in, she shifted her feet again and again before the door. Noah stood and opened it. What is it? The girl flinched, her shoulders jumping. Is this the shop that finds lost things? It is. I don't have much money. I don't want money. Then what do you want? Memory. The girl looked troubled. How do I pay with a memory? You give me one thing you don't mind forgetting. One thing I don't mind forgetting. The girl hugged the box tighter. Then, yesterday, I fell down and cried. Are you sure that's all right? Yes. My little brother laughed at me, so I want to forget it. Noah hesitated a little. A child's memories are softer than an adult's. And what is soft is easily hurt. From the top of the shelf, Gigi said, leave it be. I know. Noah turned back to the girl. Today, as a special case, I don't need the memory. Show me that box. Fearfully, the girl held out the wooden box. Inside was a single small blue ribbon. It's a keepsake from my mother. But since yesterday, one of them is missing. I always tied my hair with 2. Noah touched the ribbon. A gentle scent rose from it. Fresh-washed cloth, a sunlit windowsill, a large hand wrapping a small one, and then a strong wind. Noah closed his eyes. The girl was walking through the market. Beneath her hood, the blue ribbon swayed. She stopped before the spice shop. A carriage passed. The wind blew. One ribbon came loose and danced into the air. Swept to the back of the lane, it caught behind an old water jar. Turned the corner at the spice shop. Behind the cracked water jar. The girl's face brightened. Really? Go and see. Thank you. She bowed again and again, then ran off. Gigi spoke. How rare. No payment. She was a child. So you have a conscience after all. Be quiet. A ribbon, though. Gigi's voice dropped, just slightly. Pretending to tidy the shelves, Noah asked, Something bothering you? No. Liar. Gigi regarded him with its one eye. Your instincts have grown too sharp of late. They've always been sharp. Not like this. Before, you only followed the scent. Now you look too deep into the heart of a memory. Noah did not answer. He knew it himself. These past few months, his power had been growing stronger. When he touched an object, he saw more than before. Not only the surface of a person's memory, but sometimes the deep places even they had forgotten. It was useful, but it was frightening too. He felt as though he might see things he was never meant to see. Past noon, the lanes of the East Quarter grew loud. The baker shouted that his loaves were done, the tavern mistress kicked a drunkard out the door, and the hammer of the blacksmith rang against the stone walls. Noah sat at the back of the shop, gnawing on hard black bread. Gigi perched at the window, watching the street. Close up for today, Gigi said suddenly. It's still midday. The air is bad. Bread still in his mouth, Noah looked out the window. The sky was clear. A blue sky without a single cloud. Bright with sunlight, rare for the East Quarter. Is it going to rain? It might. Under the sky? Rain doesn't always fall from the sky. There was none of the usual lightness in Gigi's voice. Noah frowned. Do you know something? Live long enough, and you learn to sense when something's wrong. Because you're a former sorcerer? A former great sorcerer. Yes, yes. Your reply is too light. Noah was about to smile, and it was then that the shop door opened. The bell rang. The one who entered was a girl, about Noah's own age. She wore a dark blue coat, and at her waist hung a slender sword. Her long silver hair was tied back, and her eyes were the blue of the sky before dawn. She was not of the East Quarter. That much was clear at a glance. The leather of her boots was different. The cloth of her coat was different. The way she stood was different. And above all, she carried the particular air of one accustomed to giving others commands. A noble. That was Noah's judgment. A troublesome customer. The girl looked around the shop, and her brow moved slightly at the sight of the bottles on the shelves. But at once she returned her gaze to Noah. Is this the lost and found? That's what the sign says. Are you Noah? And if I am? For a moment, the girl swallowed her words. She looked tired. Faint shadows lay beneath her eyes. The hem of her coat was stained with mud. She looked less like a noble daughter arrived by carriage and more like someone who had walked all the way here fleeing from something. There's something I want you to find. An object. A person. Noah fell silent. Searching for a person is more troublesome than searching for a thing. Things do not lie. A key is a key, a ring is a ring. However many thieves' hands they pass through, you can follow the memory left in them. But people are different. They run. They hide. They lie. And sometimes they have a reason for not wanting to be found. Finding a person is expensive. I'll pay. Not in gold. I know. You take memory as payment, don't you? The girl removed her glove. Her white fingers were trembling faintly. I'll give you my memory. Noah looked at her. And in that instant, a fierce scent stabbed into the back of his nose. The smell of blood. The smell of burning wood. Shattered glass. Wet cobblestones. The screaming voice of a child. And then, the smell of pure black rain. Noah rose to his feet before he knew it. On the shelf, Gigi too had spread its wings and gone rigid. The girl said, "Find my brother." His name? I don't know. Your own brother? The girl bit her lip. Her face was twisted with frustration and fear. I've forgotten his name. The shop fell utterly silent. Outside, the voices of people could be heard. The laughter of customers buying bread. The wheels of carriages striking the cobblestones. The shouting of the tavern mistress. And yet, to Noah's ears, they all sounded far away. The scent of black rain drifting from the girl's memory. It was a smell Noah should have been catching for the very first time in his life. And yet, it felt familiar. Who are you? Noah asked. The girl answered straight. Elena Lucia, daughter of the ducal house of Lucia. Gigi let out a low croak. House Lucia. One of the 4 great ducal houses of the kingdom. A house of such standing that its power was second only to the king's, able even to command a portion of the army. There was ordinarily no reason for a daughter of such a house to come to a lost-and-found shop in the East Quarter. If you're of a ducal house, use your soldiers or your sorcerers. I did. Then go to them. Every one of them forgot my brother. Noah said nothing. Elena went on. The servants in the manor, my father, my mother, my brother's room, his portrait, the records, all of it has gone wrong. Only the proof that my brother ever existed keeps disappearing, little by little. And you alone remember him? I don't remember. Elena's voice trembled. I don't remember, and still I know. I had a brother I loved. And yet I can't recall his face, his voice, or his name. From against her chest, she drew a small scrap of cloth. It was an old blue ribbon. This is all that was left. I don't even know if it was his. But when I look at it, my chest aches. Noah looked at the ribbon. It was different from the ribbon of the girl who had come a little while ago. Into this ribbon, long years had soaked. A child's hand. Wind in a garden. Someone's laughter. And then, a scream at the moment of parting. Noah reached out his hand. Gigi spoke sharply. Don't touch it. Noah's fingers stopped. Why? That is no ordinary memory. Elena looked at Gigi. A talking crow. If you've room left to be surprised at that, you're still all right for now. Gigi spoke in sarcasm, but its voice was taut. Noah could not take his eyes off the ribbon. He knew he must not touch it. And yet, at the same time, he felt that unless he touched it, nothing would begin. Noah took the ribbon. The instant his fingertips met the cloth, his vision warped. A dark corridor. A shattered window. A candle stand fallen to the floor. Blood spattered across the wall. Black rain blowing in through an open window. A small Elena was crying, and before her stood the back of a boy. Silver hair. The boy did not turn around. He only cried out in a trembling voice, "Elena, run!" The next instant, the black rain painted over everything. Noah let go. His breath had gone ragged. The back of his right eye burned as if on fire. Elena leaned in. "Did you see something?" Noah did not answer. Before answering, he looked at Gigi. Gigi had lost every trace of its usual banter. "Noah." "What?" "Refuse this request." "I haven't said anything yet." "Refuse it." Gigi's voice was hard. "This is not a search for a person. It's the work of digging up an existence that has been erased." "What's the difference?" "What has been erased has someone who erased it." Gigi looked at Elena with its one eye. "And that someone is still close by." It was then. The world outside the shop went suddenly dark. Noah turned to the window. The sky, clear only moments before, was covered in black clouds. They were no ordinary clouds. Black, like ink dissolved in water. And within them a red light was pulsing. The people walking the street looked up at the sky. The first drop struck the window. It was black rain. Elena caught her breath. The same. Noah's right eye seized with heat. The eye that should have been gray began to shine gold. Gigi cried out, "Close your eyes, Noah." But it was too late. The instant the black rain wet the cobblestones, the people in the street stopped, one after another. A woman about to buy bread dropped her purse. A carriage driver let go of his reins. A child pulled free of its mother's hand. The tavern mistress froze mid-shout, her mouth hanging open. And every one of them spoke the same word. Forget. A searing pain ran through Noah's head. Memories he did not know came flooding in. A white temple. A vanished sacred flame. A weeping infant. An old man carving letters in his own blood. A black stone. Kill this child. Noah sank to his knees on the floor. Elena ran to him. "Noah, don't touch me," he tried to say. But no voice came. From Noah's right eye, a single golden tear spilled. The instant that tear struck the floor, the air inside the shop burst. The memory bottles lined on the shelves all began to tremble at once. The butcher's memory of supper. The memory of the old woman's letter she could never give her dead husband. The memory of a girl who searched for a lost cat. The regret sealed into a stolen ring. An apology no one could ever speak. A first love handed over in the wish to forget it. A promise that still swayed warm inside its bottle, though it was supposed to have been forgotten. Every memory became a voice. Do not forget. Do not forget. Do not forget. Elena stepped back, trembling. "You? What are you?" Noah could not answer. Because the answer to that question was something he, more than anyone, did not know. Only one thing had become clear. If he searched for Elena's brother, he would be touching his own past. The black rain, the erased name, the golden right eye, and the night the god vanished. All of it was connected. Gigi spoke in a low voice. "We're running." Noah forced himself to his feet against the pain. "Where?" "Outside the capital." "Stay here and you'll be killed." "By whom?" Gigi looked out the window. Beyond the black rain, at the center of the street, a single man stood. Black priestly robes. a silver mask covering his face. In his hand, a sword with no blade. The man was looking at Noah inside the shop. There was distance between them. The rain was falling. The window glass was fogged. And still, Noah knew that man was looking at him. And he was smiling. The masked man opened his mouth. His voice should have been drowned by the sound of the rain. But it reached Noah's ears clearly. Found you. In that instant, Noah's right eye shone stronger still. Words he was supposed to have forgotten rose up from deep within his chest. The child of the God. Noah held his breath. Whether those words meant himself or Elena's brother or someone else entirely, he still did not know. But the masked man said it without a doubt. The child of the God I failed to kill 16 years ago. The black rain swallowed the capital. On the shelf of the lost and found, the last bottle was trembling. That bottle had no label. For some reason, Noah felt that this one bottle, above all, must not be broken. Without thinking, he seized it and pushed it inside his coat. And along with it, he tossed a few small bottles within reach into his belt pouch. Which ones he had chosen, even he did not know. Gigi took wing. The back door. Elena, still clutching the blue ribbon, looked at Noah. Will you find my brother? Noah did not answer. His heart was not settled enough to answer. But he took Elena's hand. It was a thin, cold hand. Noah said, shortly run. That was his answer. Beyond the door, the people soaked in black rain went on murmuring the same word. Forget. 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 For the first time, Noah wanted to defy that word. He did not know who he was. He did not know why he had a golden eye. He did not know why, 16 years ago, someone had tried to kill him. And yet, there was something that must not be forgotten. So he thought. In that moment, the shop sign creaked under the beating rain. The lost and found. Noah's ordinary days ended completely that day. And his own first search for a lost thing began. Chapter 2. Escape from the black rain. Gigi took wing from the top of the shelf. His black feathers cut through the dim air of the shop and swept toward the window. The back door, Noah. At that voice, Noah finally moved. Behind his right eye, the heat still burned. Inside his head, the unfamiliar memories that had poured into him a moment ago were still turning in slow circles. A white temple. A sacred flame gone out. A weeping infant. An old man carving letters in blood. Words cut into a black stone. Kill this child. Whether it was his own memory or someone else's, Noah could not tell. The only thing he knew was that the man in the silver mask, standing outside the shop, had come to kill him. Hurry! Elena's voice brought him back to himself. She was watching him, still clutching the blue ribbon. Her face was pale. And yet, strangely, she was not paralyzed with fear. Was it the steadiness of a girl born to nobility? Or had the pain of losing her brother grown greater than her fear? Either way, there was no time to stand still. Noah pushed a small, unlabeled vial into the inside of his cloak. Even he did not know why he was taking it. He only knew that this one vial he could not leave behind. He ran to the back of the shop. Through a narrow passage was a small kitchen. A worn-out pot, a chipped plate, the last of a hard black loaf. The ordinary life he had lived until yesterday was still sitting there untouched. But he could not go back to it. He felt that much. Noah unfastened the lock on the back door. The moment he opened it, the smell of the black rain flowed in. It was not the smell of rain. Not wet earth, not paving stone, not iron. It was a cold, sweet smell, like something forgotten quietly rotting away. "Pull your hood down low," said Gigi. "Don't let the rain touch you directly. Stay wet too long, and you'll peel away from your own name." "From your name?" Elena asked. "A human being is tied to the world by their name. Lose the name, and the memories come undone. When the memories come undone, you no longer know who you are." Why would rain like that fall on the royal capital? If you want to know, then live long enough to get out of here. Gigi's tone was cold, but it was clear that he too was afraid. Noah stepped out into the back alley. The rain fell like fine needles. Each drop was small, but wherever it struck the paving stones, it spread a black stain. From across the street came the voices of people. "Forget, forget, forget." It sounded like a prayer and like a curse. Noah seized Elena's wrist. "We run." "Where?" "I don't know." "You don't know." "Gigi knows." "You're just leaving it to him." "To the East Waterway," Gigi shouted, flying ahead. "Down there, we can slip underground." They ran. They turned down an alley. Their feet slipped on the whetstone. Elena's shoes were fine ones, not made for running down back streets like these. Even so, she gritted her teeth and kept up. "So you really do live in the East Quarter," she said. "You're saying that now? You run like you're used to it. Is that a compliment?" "Half of one. And the other half? You run like someone used to running away." Noah did not answer. It was true. He had been chased by thieves. He had been cornered by drunken soldiers. He had nearly been beaten by a customer who came to regret the memory he had handed over as payment. To live in the East Quarter, quick feet were worth more than a sword. When they came out onto the main street, people stood frozen in the black rain. A fishmonger stared at the fish in his hands, muttering, "What is this?" Beside him, a woman who seemed to be a mother had dropped to her knees before a small child. "Who are you?" The child was crying. "Mama, it's me." "Mama?" The woman gazed at the child's face as if searching for the meaning of the word. But she could not remember. Noah nearly stopped in his tracks. "Underlings of the Church of Oblivion," Gigi said in a low voice. "The Church of Oblivion?" Elena whispered. "I've never heard of it. Most who hear of it are made to forget." "A church, so it's an order that serves a god?" Gigi let out a short laugh. "Men who have forgotten the name of God, what do you think they serve now?" Noah watched the priests from the shadow of the alley. One of them raised his face as if scenting the air. "Close. There's a reaction from the child of God. The silver mask's orders. Take him alive. The girl is not needed." Elena's face went rigid. Noah said quietly, "I'll be the bait." "No." Elena answered at once. "You're the one they're after, aren't you? That's why I'll be the bait." "You don't call the one they're hunting the bait. Then what is it?" "Reckless." Noah narrowed his eyes just slightly. That she still had it in her to argue, in a moment like this, was something to admire. "Can you use that sword?" "It isn't for decoration." "Have you ever cut a man down?" Elena was silent for just an instant. That silence was answer enough. "I'll go forward. You just hold them back." "Can you fight?" "No. That's hopeless." Gigi gave a small growl. "Save the quarrel for later." They're coming. The priest holding the black book turned toward them all at once. There. In the next moment, the pages of the book turned by themselves. Black letters rose into the air. A sensation ran through Noah's head, like cold fingers pushed inside it. Noah, Gigi shouted. Picture your own name. His name. Noah. Noah of the lost and found. Noah, taken in by Gigi. Noah, who had survived the East Quarter. Desperately, Noah repeated his own name in his heart. But the black letters were scraping away the surface of his memory. Why was he here? Who had he been running with? What had he been running from? For an instant, he no longer knew. In that opening, the priest with the dagger lunged. The bladeless dagger aimed for Noah's shoulder. Elena's sword knocked it aside. There was no ring of metal. Instead, there was a sound like air being torn. Elena's face twisted with pain. What is this? A sword that cuts memory. Gigi shouted. Don't take it head on. Elena stepped back. Just now, for an instant, I forgot how to hold a sword. And you still blocked it? Noah was astonished. My body remembered. Convenient. This is not the moment to be impressed. The second priest threw his chain. The chain had no blade, but into each of its links, small letters had been carved. The chain wrapped around Noah's ankles. In that instant, the feeling drained out of his legs. For a moment, he could not remember what legs were even for. Noah fell. Cut, the priest said coldly. Elena tried to cut the chain, but the blade passed straight through. I can't cut it. It isn't a thing. Gigi cried. It's a chain of names. It binds the captive sense of who they are. Never mind the lecture. Tell me how to get it off. Remember. Remember what? Your legs. Noah looked at his own legs. Legs. The things that walk. The things that run. The things that flee. The things that had raced through the alleys of the East Quarter again and again. The things that had ached when Gigi kicked him. The things that had risen, even on the nights when hunger left him unable to move. Noah clenched his teeth. They're my legs. The chain groaned. They're the legs I run with. One of the letters on the chain shattered. But it did not come off completely. The priest with the dagger closed in. Hand over the child of God. Noah reached into the pouch at his waist. His fingertips touched a vial of memory. He had not yet broken the butcher's memory of his evening meal. But in the pouch were several small vials he had grabbed on his way out of the shop. He gripped one of them. On its label, in a shaky hand, were written the words, "The letter I could never give my dead husband." Noah hesitated for a moment. A memory was not merely a tool. What was inside the vial was a piece of someone's life. But if he did not use it now, he would die. Noah smashed the vial against the ground. The glass broke and golden smoke came pouring out. An old woman's memory spread through the alley. A small room. A husband on his sickbed. A letter tucked away in a desk drawer. An apology she had never been able to speak aloud. There were times I resented you. But far more than that, I was glad to have lived my life with you. The memory shone in the rain, like a small flame. The black chain loosened. The priests turned their faces away in pain. Meddlesome memories. A memory with strong feeling disturbs the art of oblivion. No! Gigi shouted. Run! Noah shook off the chain and rose to his feet. Elena kicked the dagger priest's knee and threw him off balance. Before the third priest could loose his black letters, Gigi drove straight into his face. Going for the eyes is the first rule of being a bird. Gah! The priest dropped his book. Noah stamped it underfoot. From the book rose a sound like a black scream. "This way!" Elena cried. The two of them broke through the alley and ran for the east waterway. From behind, the voices of the priests came chasing after them. "Don't let them escape. Report to the silver mask." The child of God used a vial of memory. Noah ran, gasping for breath. His chest ached. The feel of the memory he had just broken still lingered in his hand. That memory of the letter would never return to its vial. It would never reach anyone now. No. Was that really true? The memory that had spread through the rain had, for an instant, stopped the priests. It had protected Elena. It had saved Noah himself. Perhaps that was better than keeping it locked away. And yet, to think so felt a little too convenient for him. Noah ahead. At Elena's voice, he looked up. Ahead stood an old iron grate, leading down to the waterway. Normally it was kept shut. But the children of the East Quarter knew where the key was hidden. Noah thrust his hand into a gap in the wall and drew out a rusted key. Elena's eyes went wide. Why would it be in a place like that? Common knowledge in the East Quarter. Absolutely not. He slid the key in and turned it with all his strength. With a rusty screech, the grate swung open. Damp air breathed out from within. "Get in!" Gigi cried. Noah, then Elena, then Gigi dropped down into the waterway. Just behind them, black letters struck the stone wall. Noah pulled the grate shut. He drew out the key and hurled it into the darkness of the canal. "Can't they just open it?" Elena said. "It'll buy us time. And after that? Haven't thought that far. You're more of an improviser than I imagined. You came to my shop out of nowhere. I was desperate. I'm desperate right now." Gigi cleared his throat with a low sound. "Save the friendly bickering for later." The underground waterway was dark. Moss grew on the walls, and shallow water ran along the floor. From the gaps in the ceiling, the black rain dripped, drop by drop, though far less than above. Noah leaned against the wall and caught his breath. Elena, too, braced her hands on her knees, breathing hard. Silver hair clung to her cheek. She looked far more human now than when she had first walked into the shop. Not a proud duke's daughter, but a single girl who, though afraid, had not stopped running. "Are you hurt?" Noah asked. "No. And you?" "Probably not." "Probably. My memory might have been cut." Elena's expression changed. "What did you forget?" "If I knew that, it wouldn't be a problem." Noah pressed a hand to his forehead. There was a sense that something was missing, but he could not tell what. That was the terror of oblivion. You could not notice what you had lost. And even if you noticed, you could not recall its shape. Elena said softly, "I was the same, for so long." Noah looked at her. "I knew I'd had a brother, but I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember, and yet my chest ached. As if there were a hole inside me, and all I had was the shape of the hole to imagine what I'd lost by." Her voice was trembling. "So I understand a little, the fear of not knowing what you've forgotten." Noah did not know what to say. He was not used to being comforted. He was even less used to comforting. So he only said, shortly, "I see." Elena smiled a little. "You're bad at it." "At what?" answering, "I'm told that often." "By whom?" "Gigi." Gigi ruffled his feathers. "I put it more harshly than that. I tell him he is bad at conversation." "That means the same thing." From deep in the waterway came a low sound. All three fell silent at once. It was not the sound of running water. Someone was walking. Slowly. Gigi whispered, "It isn't the pursuers. There's only one set of footsteps." "An ally?" Elena asked. "Don't imagine that anyone walking these canals." His eyes were clouded, yet strangely sharp. When the old man saw Noah and the others, he grinned. Fleeing into the canals on a day of black rain, not half bad. Noah braced himself. "Who are you?" "My name is Sold Out." "So the old man said." Elena frowned. "Sold out. Long ago I was hungry. So I sold my name. Since then, no one has called me anything." Noah's right eye throbbed faintly. A thin, gray memory clung to the space around the old man. The scent particular to those who had lost their names. The smell of dry paper and old gravestones. Gigi looked at the old man and said, "A guide of the waterways." The old man narrowed his eyes at the crow. "A talking bird is a rare thing." "No, I feel I've seen one before. I've forgotten." "We want to get through the East Waterway," said Noah. "And the price?" Noah's hand went to his pouch. But the old man shook his head. "I don't want memories. I've no place left to keep them." "Then what do you want?" The old man looked at Noah's right eye. "With that eye, find my name for me." The air grew heavy. Elena looked at Noah. "Can you do that?" Noah could not answer. He did not know whether he could. He only knew that if he reached for the old man's lost name, something inside himself would be worn away. He felt that much. Gigi said, "Not now." The old man shrugged. "Then there's no guiding you either. The pursuers are coming. Everyone is being chased by something. Deaths, the past, death, a forgotten name. Nothing special." Noah looked at the old man. He had said he sold his name. And yet in those eyes there was still a light that searched for himself. A thing offered up in the belief that it could be spared and later longed for again. The butcher had been the same. The old woman's letter had been the same. A memory looked light in the moment it was handed over. But only after it was gone did you feel its weight. Noah took a step forward. "All right," Gigi said sharply. "Noah, I'll only search. You're unsteady right now. It's just after you reacted to the black rain. But if we stay like this, they'll catch us." Elena spoke up. "Is there anything I could pay in his place?" The old man shook his head. "The girl's memory is full of holes. Draw out any more and she breaks." Elena fell silent, frustrated. Noah stood before the old man. "Your hand." The old man held out a hand like a withered branch. Noah touched it. It was cold. In that instant, the depths of his right eye grew hot. He sank down into the bottom of a dark memory. A waterway. Hunger. Winter. A small shop. A woman buying a name. 3 silver coins. The old man had been young. His back had still been straight. He had a daughter. The daughter was ill. He had no money to buy medicine. So he sold his own name. Lose your name, and those around you forget you. Work, friends, home, all lost. But it had paid for the daughter's medicine. The daughter lived only 3 more days. And in those 3 days, What had the daughter called her father? That part alone was painted over in black. Noah reached further in. From beyond the black film came the voice of a small girl. Papa. No. That was not a name. Deeper. A sick room. White cloth. Weak breathing. The girl gripping her father's hand. Gald. Noah opened his eyes. Gald. The old man's eyes went wide. Your name is Gald. The old man did not move. The sound of the rain, the sound of the water, seemed to recede into the distance. Before long, a single tear ran down the old man's cheek. That's right, he said, in a trembling voice. I am Gald. In that instant, the old letters carved into the wall of the waterway glowed faintly. Gigi caught his breath. He's taken back his name. Noah nearly dropped to his knees. Elena caught him. Are you all right? I'm fine. It was a lie. There was a sense that something inside his chest had been hollowed out. He had lost something. What he had lost, he still could not tell. Gald wiped his tears on his sleeve and raised the lantern. I'll guide you. Since you've given me back my name, I'll repay the debt. Where would be safe? Gigi asked. There is no safe place in the royal capital, but there is a place the reign of oblivion struggles to reach. Where? Gald pointed to the depths of the waterway. The Ash Library. Elena echoed him. A library? Deep beneath the royal capital. It's where the records people have forgotten drift and gather. Ordinary folk forget its entrance. Even those who enter forget the place by the time they leave. Noah looked at Gigi. Did you know? Gigi looked away. Only that it existed. You were hiding it again. There was no need to say. There is now. That's why we're going there. Elena looked from one to the other. The two of you keep far too many secrets, don't you? Noah and Gigi said at the same time, so do you. Elena started to argue, then stopped. And she smiled a little. Whether one could smile in a moment like this meant she was strong or half-broken, Noah could not tell. With Gald to guide them, the three pressed on into the depths of the waterway. The sound of the rain above grew distant. In its place, the deep silence of the underground drew near. Along the way there were many forks. Gald never hesitated. You gave me back my name. So the roads came back to me a little, too. From your name alone? Elena asked. A name is a key. The key that opens the door of the self. Gald swayed the lantern. Lose the key, and you can no longer enter the rooms inside yourself. Memories, promises, the faces of those you loved, all of it is locked away in there. Noah listened in silence. A name. He had a name too. Noah. But who had given him that name? Was it Gigi? Someone somewhere? Or the old man who had held an infant in the temple? Whenever he tried to think of it, his right eye ached. At last they reached the end of the waterway. There stood a vertical shaft, like a crumbling well. It led not up, but down. Gald peeled the moss from the wall. Beneath it, a gray door appeared. The door had no handle, no keyhole. Only a single line was carved into it. Only the forgotten may reach this place. Gald looked at Noah. Beyond here is the Ash Library. Noah reached out toward the door. But just before he touched it, a sound rang out from the waterway behind them. The sound of the iron grate being broken. The priests had caught up. And from beyond them came a slow set of footsteps. Gigi's feathers stood on end. The silver mask. Elena drew her sword. Open it. Noah laid his hand against the door. It was cold. From beyond it came the scent of countless memories. Lost names. Forgotten promises. Vanished myths. Letters no one would ever read again. Tears whose reasons had been forgotten. The door opened, quietly. Gray light spilled out. Gald bowed his head low. There was no road back.